What's good? Hola, ¿cómo estás? As Ariana like to say on her life, she's like, bienvenidos a mi canal. Mi
You got
canal,
it.
whatever you say, I mean canal. But welcome back to Matic Mondays. My name is Adrian, aka Travel Matic. And if this is your first time, definitely thank you for visiting with us, where we talk about all things digital nomad, remote working, traveling, all of that under the sun. If you're trying to transfer your skills from the call center to the project team, you're in the right place. And if you're returning, what's good? We are back. We are a tad bit late, but hey, we're here.
Just, just a little.
Just a tad, just a tad. We on CP time tonight. So,
Exactly.
but we have my wonderful co-host Tiffany Sports and Heels.
What it do? Good evening. Happy can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Can y'all hear me? Okay, good. Happy spring forward day.
Ooh, that thing was hurting me today too, bud. It was hurting.
Man, let me tell you something. There ain't nothing like having a spring forward when you've been working all weekend and gotta work on Monday. So hope you all have adjusted because I know I haven't, but I will.
Right. And Tiffany, we have a guest in the house with us today. I would like to introduce is Ariana with Ari Venturas is her YouTube channel, which we will put in the chat momentarily. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Oh, yes, yes. I found her through my friend D in Cali, which
Shout out to D.
um,
Shout out to
maybe
Dean.
yes, yes. D may be visiting us fairly soon. That's a little dropped a little gem on y'all right now. But yes, I've been a fan of Ariana for a moment um via D because myself being in IT, I knew of UI UX because I sometimes get it in my projects, but I don't really deal with it because I'm
Yep.
a software guy, and the UI is really kind of like out the box, so it's already done or whatever. I do a little customization, but it's still much out of the box. But with Ariana here, she does it from scratch. She builds it from the ground up.
Wow.
Um, she's
Yeah.
like a Picasso of IT.
Yeah.
So, yes. So tell the world a little bit more about you, where you from, and you're currently abroad right now. She living the life right now. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Well, I was born in Louisiana. I'm a child of a military family. My dad was in the military, so we moved around the U.S. quite a bit. So I've lived in a variety of different states from East Coast to West Coast. And basically, my mom put me in Spanish classes. I really loved the language. And so when I got older and was able to travel, after I graduated college, I decided to travel as much as I can to immerse myself in the language. And eventually, it just got to the point where I was asking myself, why did I keep going back home if I didn't want to go back to the States at the end of vacation? So started doing some research on Google, trying to figure out ways that or see if there were other people out there doing what I wanted to do, which was live abroad. And through the course of that, I majored in graphic design in college. So um, I've always kind of had like a root in UI design, and through the course of my career, I kind of transitioned into UX and UI. And then I had landed at a company that allowed me to work remotely. So I decided to sell all my stuff back in the States and just start traveling. And then I ended up in Medellin, Colombia, because it was one of my favorite places that I had lived in or tried living in since I started traveling. So,
Cool, cool. A few thoughts there as you were talking. When you said you now there is a difference between UI and UX. Can you explain, like break UI like for the people that I know what UI. I don't know what UX means, but I know what UX. But explain UI and UX. What is that and what it entails?
Yeah. So UI stands for user interface. It's pretty much whatever you're looking at when you're interacting with an application, a website, anything we would call a product. UX is user experience. So it's more focused on the type of experience that a user has while they're actually using the application. So an easier way to think about it is like UX is getting inside the user's brain. It's about the psychology of designing technology, while UI is more so what you're looking at, and it's about the visual elements. So the visual design behind technology.
Mm, okay, okay, and that's like what you call wireframe too, right? You do wireframes or
Yeah, so that's both UI and UX can do wireframes because it's really what we call low fidelity design or just like super basic design. So like you can put a wireframe on a sketch. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. So a UX designer could sketch out their ideas on a wireframe and hand it over to a UI designer to make it look like what you would see when you're actually using an application, super fancy, all the colors and all of that. But a wireframe is just boxes and shapes and things on a piece of paper to try and like highlight different ideas and high level concepts. So a UX designer could work with a UI designer in that way. And then you have some designers that are like me that do a bit of both. And so you start out with a wireframe and just transition it into something that's more colorful and what we call high fidelity, the finished look of the application.
And for those of you who don't speak the language, what basically is saying is what you experience when you go use a software, the user's experience, all the buttons, the design, what you experience as part of UI UX. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the buttons, the text, the colors, the fonts, all of that is under UI. That's that interface that you're looking at when you see the screen. The UX part is knowing which page you see after you click something. So like how to structure the navigation or sometimes thinking through like what kind of elements you need to see at once versus
Mhm.
what you need to see step by step. So like breaking out a form instead of answering like 10 or 20 questions at one time, it may make more sense to show them one question at a time. So it's the strategy behind like how the design is created, and then the UI part is adding in like the getting detailed with those buttons and the colors and the fonts and how it actually looks on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
hmm, nice, nice.
So
And go
how did
ahead.
how did you decide UI UX was going to be your thing? I think there's so
Yeah.
many different areas that you can go into when it comes to design. What made you pick UI UX?
Yeah, so I majored in graphic design. That's what got me
Uh,
into the UI field. Yeah, so I learned the basic principles behind like art and having things balanced and contrast and all of that. After I graduated, I actually couldn't find a job, so I started creating websites for small business owners and building out their brands online. And that is when I transitioned into working for a web design agency. Got to learn more about UI versus UX, and then got into IT consulting and really started doing more of the UX side. But when it comes to UX, I think you're right. There could be all different types of backgrounds. I've met a lot of people that have taken like accelerator courses or different programs where they're just kind of like learning as much as they can about UX within 3 6 months.
mhm.
But they come from all different backgrounds, like psychology, business majors, even communications. Because really, if you're passionate about how people think, that is applicable to a lot of different other industries as well, where you're using a little bit of psychology in some level or some degree to what you're doing. So there's some skills from all of those different areas that you can use as a starting point.
That's awesome because we talk about here a lot. If you don't have a degree, there are other avenues that you can kind of get into things. And you've just explained, guys, if you're listening, that you don't necessarily, it's great to have the degree. We're not encouraging you not to, but we're really talking to those people who are stuck in positions or in careers that are limiting their ability to travel and work remotely. And UI UX, as you just heard, is an opportunity to take your transferable skills. There's that word again that we use all the time. Take those transferable skills, get some certifications, do some self learning, and become a UI or UX or a combined UI UX developer. That's awesome. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Now, what made you leave Louisiana to go abroad?
So Louisiana, I left by force. I was like maybe 2 months old, I think, before we picked up and moved to Seattle. We hopped around a lot of different places, but when I left the states, I left from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think the my language.
Did we lose
Uh,
her? Oh, there
yeah,
we go.
you lost your audio.
Her audio.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, this headset is wonky. Sometimes it mutes me without permission. Um, but yeah, what part did you hear last?
That you left from North Carolina.
Okay. I left from North Carolina and pretty much I just wanted to immerse myself in a Spanish speaking country. I minored in Spanish when I went to school, but I was only really good at like reading and writing it. Conversational wise, I didn't have the confidence to do it and I still struggled to understand when people would speak to me.
Mhm.
So immersion was a big part of it. I think another part of it too was, like I said, I had been going on vacations. So I had visited Colombia before and just realizing how much more affordable it was and how much more I enjoyed being out here and the things that I could do. Um, that put things in perspective for me. And I wanted to be somewhere where I knew I could stretch my money, get out of student loan debt, and just kind of have a fighting chance when it came to finances because I felt like I couldn't do that being back in the States and things being what it costs. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm.
That's amazing.
Right, right, right. Um, so what everybody would probably want to know too, what the money look like? What's the money looking like? Is are we going to be sufficient enough to travel the world? Are we just going to be real? It's not that beneficial to get into this field. Um, range like a junior, because you could be a junior, you could be a senior
hmm
UX UI designer. Can you break that down for us on like a contract and full time, or doing it freelance as well?
Yeah, I can break it down for you full time. Contract, I would assume, is pretty similar in range, just without benefits.
Yeah.
But I haven't actually done too much contract work. So UI and UX, it's kind of difficult because you'll see it worded different ways. You'll see companies ask for UX designers, UX UI designers, and UI designers. It's starting to get more clear, and there's like a divide, and you'll see UI falling more under like visual designer or like web designer as
Yeah.
well. But you'll see the UX comes in a little bit higher than UI in all levels. So just to give you an idea, and
Okay.
then as a junior coming in, I think I think around like if you're in consulting because it's different with product design and consulting.
Mhm.
So consulting is around 60K you could come in at. I want to say like 50 to 60K somewhere in that range. As a senior, definitely over six figures. A lot of this also depends on where you're working from though. So like a salary in California versus North Carolina is very different. So I'm giving North Carolina ranges. Um, and as far as freelance goes, I want to say that you can freelance. I haven't done for UX either. It's been a while, so you can kind of set your price though, and I want to say you'll probably set it around the same as the industry standard. Um, so whatever converts to like 50, 60K for a salary range that in per hour, I think you could do for contract or in freelance.
Based on your experience, what kind of fields are you seeing the UI UX design work happening? Would it be like healthcare, or are you seeing more in app development or web development? Um, what fields or what areas are you really, seeing a lot of UI UX demand?
Yeah. Recently, I feel like there's a spike in healthcare for sure. I worked in consulting, so I saw all the above. I've worked with retail, I've worked with aerospace engineering, worked with financial, energy sector. Like it's everyone needs UX, and the thing is that as we are growing and shifting in technology, because technology is forever evolving,
Mm-hmm.
UX is necessary to keep up because all these new tech websites, gears, apps, things that are coming out, they need an experience design behind them. Even when it comes to things that don't necessarily have a visual interface, for example, like voice design is another big field that comes up around the UX UI space. And that's designing things like a Google Home or something that you Siri, something that you're only talking to. So I think all spaces, but specifically, I think healthcare is a growing one in this particular moment.
So you brought up technology is always changing and new technology. What impact have you seen maybe that tools like AI, which is artificial intelligence, had an impact on UI UX development, if any?
Cool. I mean, I think a lot of new cool features have has definitely come out of from it. For example, I don't know if you all are familiar with Spotify, but that's one that I use often. And recently, they've got the new AI DJ that kind of plays whatever songs that he recommends for you, either ones you've listened to or new ones that you might be interested in. So just cool tech features like that are coming out every day. Different. It just opens up a new space to be creative in a whole different way and elevate different apps and products that are out there to the next level.
Do you worry about tools like ChatGPT that can create or code UI UX interfaces that can be kind of plug and play in like development, for example?
No, not at the moment. I mean, I use ChatGPT too. I think it's a very cool and neat tool. But it can only do so much. Like it still has its limitations, and it's going to be quite a long time before it can even get as advanced. But I think we as humans are now challenged to constantly stay creative and keep learning because we do have to stay one step ahead. But it's never going to be as creative as a human, at least not in our lifetime.
Oh,
So
yeah,
we don't
there's
got nothing to worry
a
about now.
computer put that date.
What was that?
There'd always be a level of humanity a computer would never duplicate.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. Yes, and I've dropped her YouTube channel. She has a great YouTube channel that she works on the side there as a little passion project, as my own is a passion project. So definitely check her out. She's been to some places that I want to go. Um, I may need to be a UI UX designer if she's going all these places here.
Yeah, yeah. I will return it. Like, hold on.
Yes, yes. Um,
Do you have a preference type of projects you like to work on, whether it's app, web, or like what really
um,
moves you? Like, I love these type of projects.
yeah, that's a good question. I think it's more so about the challenge of the project than it is just necessarily the product. I think the next project that I do work on, I want to work on something from start to finish, what they call end to end product design.
Hmm.
So being able to build it out, from the ground up, but also being able to test with it, talk with users, and improve upon it based on like feedback. That's the real UX aspect of it.
Yeah.
Um, but when it comes to like what we're actually building, I mean, I think that's the thing about being a designer. Like you get the challenge is the exciting part of it, just the open door of being creative in whatever realm. So um, I've worked on some apps that have been cool. I think it would be cool to do like a voice design project or get to do some research in that realm. And
Mhm.
I've done some other applications where it's not even so much about the interface. Like we never got to actually build it out because I
Mhm.
just worked on the research part of it. So that's been kind of cool too, just picking the minds of people that are going to use something that hasn't even been built yet and trying to figure out like the problems that they have and what would be a good solution. Would it be an app? Would it be some kind of kiosk? Would it be something else? So I think that's the challenge of the project is most exciting for me.
Cool.
Yeah.
One more question. I don't want to dominate, but one more question. The demographics that you're seeing in UI UX as far as teams go, what are they looking like?
Yeah, I would say, I guess around like later 20s to like, I mean, I've seen seasoned UX designers, all age ranges. So as older as you can, or mature as you can imagine someone in tech. Um, and with consulting, I at one point did have actually quite a few women that were on my team, and we had some diversity within it. So all different races. Yeah, that was nice to see. I think you do see that, but it's not as common. Like I said, that was in the past. The company kind of made some shifts, and it was more. I was the only person of color, and sometimes a lot more male dominated on certain teams. So I think it really just depends on the company, but definitely not seeing as many minorities in tech as I would like. Lots of room to have more for sure, and always room for I think more women in tech. The UX space, I will say UX. I think there's a good like it's a good split between men and women, but just still getting more people of color. I think in tech in general is the goal.
That's a great segue into transferable skills. Like what do you need right now? What can you have in your little toolkit where you can transfer those into a designer role?
Yeah, I think just the desire to be creative um, is the big one. Creative problem solving is a lot of what I do, and like I said, I think a lot of people get hung up on like art or like having to draw and things like that. And it's like I described the UX part is really about being able to get into the mind of the user and figuring out how people are thinking and what the best solutions are to solve their problems. So I think if you're a creative problem solver, if you like challenges, um, if you enjoy learning things or just digging deeper, essentially like UX is research. So just the same qualities that a researcher would have, and that passion and drive to learn using the tools that you have, in front of you. So yeah, just being innovative, creative problem solver, researcher. Um, I think just asking good questions, always asking questions.
So like I mean, are there like when people want to be a business analyst or Scrum Master, I tell them certain tools like Visio, where we use for is doing process flows. Like where can I go? Can I go to like a little boot camp and do that for 6 months, get me some projects under my belt, redo my resume, and bam, I'm a junior UIX developer? Like, do I need some real life scenarios to work on? Like what does all that entail?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say to get started before you even look into boot camps, I would look at free sites like Career Foundry is a good one. Nelson Norman Group is another one. They go by NN/G. Uh, or just Googling what is UX design, what is UI design, and really getting more familiar with that. Even looking on YouTube is another good place.
Mhm.
But I think it takes a lot of work, so you have to really be committed to wanting to do it. And I think getting a full idea of what it's like, even getting on LinkedIn, finding people that are in UX and reaching out and being like, hey, what's a day in the life like for you? Maybe can I talk to you about projects you've worked on, things like that. Know what you're getting into before you get into it, because the next part would be building out a portfolio. So that could either mean you are taking a boot camp of some sort, which, like we said, are like 3 to 6 months, some longer or shorter. And I've heard they can be pretty intense, but out of it, you usually get a portfolio made. You can also try taking the route of YouTube education. I'm a fan of free education as well. But you will have to create a portfolio of some sort. That I think is what people look at first and foremost before your resume and even before meeting you, unless they know you. Like connections in the UX industry and tech in general are very strong, but the first thing they're going to ask for is your portfolio. So I would suggest boot camps. Um, if you need a structured way to build that out. If you're good about it yourself and feel like, you can do enough research and learn about it on your own, there are different websites out there that will give you like design prompts that you can use. You can also try getting on Fiverr or other freelancer sites to see if you can pick up some like freelance work to add to make your project more realistic. But basically, you want to go through and build out these projects, good projects that you can put in your portfolio and start using that to showcase yourself. Um, so yeah, I think, can
Okay.
I answer your question?
I
Yes. Yes.
UI
Yeah.
UX some work in the summer with the marketing firm, and I see a lot of UX and UI UX used in marketing, whether it be web development for nonprofits. Um, those are good places to start, I would think. If they don't have a updated website, sometimes those smaller nonprofits, you could reach out to them if you've got a little bit of development experience, or as you're using something like that to build your portfolio, might be a good start. Um, because I've seen that a lot. I've worked around and been around nonprofits for a majority of my adulthood, and you'd be surprised how many times someone, because they know I work in software development, asks me, "Do you know anybody who could develop a website?" And
Mm,
if I knew someone who had UI UX and have web development, even a little bit of web development, but had UI UX, that is that's referrals, instant referrals right there. So when you talk about transferable skills, I'm thinking of people who are already doing web development, right?
mm,
You're not doing UI UX and you're familiar with web development, you can get in using YouTube University, like you mentioned. um, you know um, when you're doing web development, you have to do wireframes, right? Because that's part of building of a site, and site mapping and all of that. So you're already thinking of it as a user when you're doing web development. So those are great, great little tips there.
yeah. Another thing too, since we're mentioning transferable skills, one of my portfolio projects is actually based off of just the UX research part of it, but I was looking at the client's analytics. So they came to me and they were like, "Yeah, we want to redesign our website. We just need a new homepage. Like people aren't subscribing." So that's what I was hearing, that people aren't subscribing. It was like, okay, so this is really the problem, but do we need to redesign the website or is there something else that's wrong with it? So I talked with them because I wanted to get a research project on my under my portfolio, and he let me dive into their analytics, and I was able to do research and find out that they weren't subscribing not because of how the homepage was designed. It really didn't look that bad. It was because they were only adding subscribers through an event. Like they would have an in-person event, have people sign up, and then they would put their subscribers in manually. So anyone that was coming to their website were people that were already subscribed, as opposed to marketing their website in the way they needed to in order to attract new users that would subscribe. So things like that, like if you have any familiarity with Google Analytics
That's-
or
yeah.
things on the back end, yeah, you can use those as well. Because, like I said, the research side doesn't require much um, visual design. So if visual design is scary or it's like you want to build up and work up to that, there are things you can do on the research side to help these companies out and even set it up where it's like, I'll help you figure out what the true problem is. I'll do that for free. And then the solution, maybe we could work something out where you're still kind of, getting paid for the work you put in,
Yeah.
but still coming out with something to put into your portfolio.
That's big.
Cool, cool. I have here. When I was doing a little research on UX UI design, how valuable are your industry certifications?
Yeah, so the ones that are most valuable are the ones that are pricey. Any of the ones that I've done, I've had my company sponsor them because they're like thousands of dollars to take
Smart
one
move.
course.
Smart move.
But I've done stuff like they've they've changed it since I've taken it. I took it a few years ago, but this design course, it doesn't stand out too much on my resume from what I've seen. Like no one calls it out or mentions it. I think it's good to show interest, especially if you are um, if you are transitioning into the field, I think taking things like this is good to show that you are like dedicated to learning it. But I don't know if it holds like too much weight in terms of like actually solidifying if a job believes that you're qualified. Like I said, that portfolio is really where they're looking to. These certifications are just things that reinforce that you're interested or you're invested in the industry.
Cool, cool, cool. Great, great answer to that.
Uh,
Um,
can you use Udemy as well? We didn't that, but I want to make sure we mention it all the time with other areas. But if it's consistent that you can go there and take some valuable courses, I want to make sure we mention it.
Yeah, I haven't peeked at Udemy in a while, but I feel like they have had some courses. Again, I think any type of free information out there or any type of courses that you can find out there on the subject helps you with building it out, but it really comes down to what projects you've worked on. And because they when you're going to apply for these jobs, they want to see how you think when you're researching people and how you think when you're building out interfaces.
Yeah.
So the certificates I think are good for helping you as a professional grow and learn and expand your skill set. But really, when it comes to the actual job, it's going to be the work you put into that portfolio.
Have you done any work or have you seen an uptick in UI UX design when it comes to influencer marketing and how corporations are using influencer marketing?
Mm, what do you mean exactly? Influencer marketing,
So, hire or use an influencer for social media marketing. So they might
like these,
UX
like
design elements on their site that have those, those TikToks, those Instagrams, whatever social media influencing marketing that they have going on. I've seen it in the marketing room, which is why I'm asking.
I see it. So you mean like influencers marketing UX and UI to people, or
No,
utilizing?
UI UX in conjunction with influencer marketing projects.
Mm, I'm not too sure about that. I myself don't have much interaction with marketing. I mean, outside of when it comes to working on UX projects, it not too much marketing is involved. Like I think even at work, that's a whole separate department. So if it is being used, it's highly possible, but I'm not too sure.
Okay.
okay, let me take a little break, get some shout outs here. The people in the chat. We got Tiffany, Pula in Portland, our biggest contributor to Matic Mondays. We got the greatest. Appreciate you coming through. We have Big J, my guy
Hey,
from
hey,
London. Huh? Huh?
I
Well,
said, hey, Jay.
yeah, yeah. Calm down, now, calm. And we got Mocha back to, and yeah, I put Ariana's YouTube in there. And we got my guy Ace. My guy Ace. Definitely look at Ace live. That guy is like a brother to me, man. Helped me to actually motivate me to create a channel, actually. So my guy Ace in the building. Appreciate you coming through. We got Tim Howard. What's good? Who else? Oh, we got, like I said, Tiffany Pullman Portland, the biggest contributor to Matic Mondays. We got my guy Matt in the building. You made it, man. You usually be a little late on it, but you're here today on time. So I'm taking up a business information system, so you'll see my blackness in tech soon. Hey, that's what it is, man. We want to see your blackness, brother,
Absolutely.
on the
Mhm.
project team with us, man. We got the General BS3. What's good, CEO? Um, who else? Who else? We got Matt the Ace. I'm like, why did she want to become? Oh, Ace asked. I'm like, why did she want to become a digital nomad? Now, was that by default because you wanted to? I mean, being a UI UX designer allowed you to travel remotely, correct? Or how did it go?
So I wanted to be a nomad before I had the job, before I was a
Okay.
UX designer. Kind
Okay.
of just put that in the air and let God do his work. But digital nomad was appealing to me because I wanted to live outside of the US for financial reasons and for language
Mm,
immersion purposes.
mm, nice, nice. And
Yeah.
I did put that website that she mentioned here, along with I think I don't think you mentioned Coursera, but you have the Google user experience certificate here. Now this is not a class; it's just more of the actual um, certificate, I guess, to take the certificate, to take the test for the certificate. But I'm sure Google has some free classes probably too with Coursera. I think it is there. Um, Matt said thanks, and he got Saint Cyr here.
You
Okay.
chose Columbia, but were there other options that you like your top three options?
Mm, yes, I
What
still
I
want to. My
because I
top three would probably be Colombia, Portugal, and Amsterdam. I think are my top three at the moment.
Mm,
But Colombia won out just because of time zone proximity to the US. And
yeah
of course, it's like most affordable. So I want to hang out here. I'm working on getting the digital nomad visa. And then I want to hop over to Portugal, Amsterdam, and maybe some other places. Like there's a lot of places in Asia and other places that I haven't been yet that might still make that list. So we'll see.
cool. Let me ask this. Well, I think he's just making a point here. Saint Cyr says, I'm starting my data analyst journey through General Assembly. My course starts in May. That's what's up. Saint, definitely
Yeah,
knock it
General Assembly is a good one.
out. I'm going to see about that. Grow with Google site. This is amazing info. Appreciate you, man. That's what we're trying to do. Give back to our blackness. Yes. Okay. So since you were just talking about the digital nomad visa, you have not attempted yet to apply for it.
I've applied for it. I'm waiting to hear back.
Okay. Now, how did you do that while you were in? Because you did it online, right?
I did it through an attorney. I didn't even want to try. Like I speak Spanish, but my Spanish when it comes to government vocabulary non-existent. So I just got it. I got an attorney. He was recommended by some other women. There's a big black women expats in Colombia chat. So he was recommended through there. Reached out to them. So they handled the whole process for me. I just sent them the documents they needed. So waiting to hear back on how long it gets approved for.
Okay. Now I want to make a little asterisk there that this is the way that Ariana did it. You don't have to do it that way. And there's other ways of going online, I think, and you can go to your actual embassy, I mean, consulate in your own country. Because I was looking about going to apply for the same Columbia one, and I read that I could go to the one here and apply through it there, which I'm sure they're probably speaking English there. I hope.
Yeah.
Here, but more than likely they probably don't speak English there. So I definitely that was a good move there
yeah
since you're already in Colombia.
yeah
Yeah. The
Um,
documents too, like I think even if you do the process in English, they have to be translated into Spanish.
right.
So I was just like, I'm not even gonna mess with it. But I do know of another woman who did it. I think she did it for her, and she has a couple, two or three kids, I think, and they got approved. So it is possible to do it on your own as well. I just didn't wanna, I didn't want to chance it.
Okay. Okay. Yes. That Portugal one is nice too, though.
mm-hmm. There's a
That,
lot of talk about that one on TikTok about that Portugal visa.
Mm.
Ariana, do you know why that one is so nice or more sought after? Do you?
Like, are you asking me my opinion or
Yeah, I mean,
like
well,
just a trick question?
with the well, we've done like a series on these visas, these digital nomad visas,
Uh-huh.
and the Portugal visa because of they're in the what's the name of it? Shishanan region,
Mm-hmm.
the Shishanan region. I'm butchering that word,
Yeah. We both.
is yes, I am. Thank you. Um, it's one of the more sought after visas in the world of that region that you can go to Spain, Germany,
Mhm.
all these on that visa. You're able to move freely throughout Europe because of that visa, and it's really hard to get. But the digital nomad visa allows you to kind of
Access to it.
Mhm.
yeah, kind of like a back door to
Yeah.
that, and it leads to well, one is it's a little longer than I think it's up to 5 years
Yep.
in increments, and
Mhm.
because the Colombia is up to 2 years,
Mhm.
and then also it allows you to if you want to like make this into like a citizenship thing, it can roll right into a citizenship process, and people spend hundreds and thousands of dollars to just get that visa, and
Yeah.
the digital nomad visa kind of helps you to get the shorter route, the back way, back
Yeah.
door.
Yeah.
Correct.
So,
So
so I'm thinking on that one. That man is Spain too, because I love Spain. I love Spain, but I've never been to Portugal. So.
Yeah. I love Portugal. Spain. I wouldn't mind visiting Spain, but I would prefer to live in Portugal over Spain.
But you
I
don't
couldn't
know
find enough black
Portuguese.
people. I don't know Portuguese, but I got around my Spanish. You'd be surprised. I picked up on Portuguese pretty quickly because of Spanish.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah, it wasn't too bad. I would just talk to people in Spanish, worst case, and they would talk to me in Portuguese. We make it work.
yeah. That's how I kind of survived in Brazil, but it's not
Yeah.
sustainable. Um, but yeah, I can read Portuguese better than I can speak it because you can tell the difference
Mhm.
in the words, but the diction is like totally like left
It's
field.
completely different. Yeah. No, I wanna learn it. I wanna learn Portuguese and Italian. Um, that's on the goal list.
Okay, cool. All right, so actually, so you said your favorite country is Amsterdam, Portugal, um, Colombia.
Yep.
What's your favorite? You like Medellin? You a Medellin girl? I was assuming, right? You Medellin? Because
Mhm.
in the travel groups I just told somebody that I said I'm not a Medellin guy. I'm more of a Cartagena guy. So
Really, Cartagena is hot. I love Cartagena. I'll visit all day, but it's too hot.
that is true. That is true. I ain't even gonna dance around that. That is true. But I just like more of that culture, more of that Afrocentric culture. Um, than Medellin because it's more like Paisa, more just Paisa, you know. Um, the food I think is a little different than Medellin. Um,
Definitely.
you kind of and I like that whole coast. I like Barranquilla, I like Santa Marta as well too. So it's kind of
Mm.
close. But other than the weather, that's the only thing I like in Medellin. That weather is bomb there, but and then it can rain on you like every day there.
I like the rain.
Your earpiece, earpiece.
Can you hear me now?
yep.
Yes.
Area.
What you say about the
I
rain?
I was saying it's been raining the last couple days, but I like the rain. It's peaceful rain. Like grab a book, cuddle up kind of rain.
You lived in Seattle. That's why you like the rain.
See, and the thing is, I didn't even know I lived in Seattle until like 5 years ago. Like I was a baby, and we moved, so I have no recollection of Seattle at all. And
Mm,
I think, see, I don't like rainy weather, but this rain doesn't bother me. It hits different.
okay. Your favorite food when you were in Amsterdam? What did you like, or in general, what did you like in Amsterdam? Why Amsterdam?
Favorite food?
Yeah.
I don't know if I really liked Amsterdam for the food.
What did you like Amsterdam for?
Some of that
I well, when I
candy.
went, when I went, I was there for New Year's,
Some of
so
that
I
Riesling.
really liked it. One, there's lots of eye candy there of all different
Oh,
shades,
really?
complexions, varieties. Yes,
I didn't. I
so
never heard of.
yeah, yeah, Amsterdam is very
Calm down, Tiff.
culturally mixed.
Oh,
Calm down. Calm down, Tiff. Calm down.
I I just asked the question. Let the lady speak. Go
No, it's
and
it's a neat little town, like with so much to do, or city, so much to do. You walk around. I mean, people do eat. I think French fries was like a big thing, but to me, like the food wasn't anything I would rave home about. Like I just ate for survival. It wasn't anything life changing, but it was cool to see how they like live in the boathouses. The people from there are so nice, and so it's just so many. I like places with a lot of diversity. I think that's why I like Colombia, because you can see all different shades, ranges. That's why I like Lisbon. So being in Amsterdam, like I met a guy from what is it, Suriname, where they speak French there, I believe, but it's like on the tip of South America, and he's like blacker than me and like so excited to see me and drive me in his car, and just interactions like that. I had so many different conversations with so many different types of people in Amsterdam. It was a neat experience, and of course being there as a solo traveler, I'm always looking for places where I feel like I could thrive as a Black woman, and Amsterdam was one of those.
what was your least favorite place to visit?
Mm.
Excluding the United
Definitely.
Yeah.
uh, definitely, yeah, above the U.S. Now I think I actually like the U.S. more. Tel Aviv, Israel was not. Israel in general, because I went to some other cities too. I did not like it.
Hmm.
Israel. Interesting.
Hmm.
My sister lived in Israel for a few years.
Really, a few
Mhm.
years.
A few years.
Wow, wow.
Why not? Why not? What was it that you didn't care for in Israel?
The people,
Mm.
particularly the men. This taxi driver put his hands on me the first day that I was there. It's it it just wasn't a good experience. And it just got worse and worse. And the culture that is really tense. I feel like it's one of the most expensive cities in the world, and so people act like they have their guard up all the time, or like trying to rip you off, and just a lot of shadiness. Um, and I'm generalizing. Obviously, that's not everybody, but that was just my experience being there, and a lot of the people I interacted with. Those are the vibes I was getting.
That's what I heard about Egypt, but that's another.
I've heard the same too about Egypt.
Especially when it comes to Black women, I've heard some very similar kind of things about Egypt.
Hmm.
Mm.
Her, this is your YouTube channel.
Yes.
Yes, she has it going on. She's been all of, and this is all during your digital nomad lifetime, UI UX lifetime. You as a designer.
Yep.
That's awesome. Who had the best Wi-Fi?
Mm. Best Wi-Fi.
Or
I mean,
the
it's. I feel
worst?
like it's hit or miss with the like where you stay, more so than the country as a whole. But
Okay, more
Are
city
you
or rural.
are you a hostel person or a hotel or Airbnb combination?
mm, more so Airbnbs now. I was doing a lot of the Selena hostels. I did a couple videos on the Selenas. I like staying there, but they're highly overpriced. The only reason I was there is because I had credits to stay there, so I wasn't actually paying for it. But I wouldn't pay to stay there out of pocket, not as because I was staying there for like weeks at a time,
Mm-hmm.
maybe for like a couple days on vacation because they are cool. You get to meet a lot of people and things like that. But I don't usually do hostels unless it makes sense. Like when I went to Cartagena, um, I had an emergency situation where my accommodations didn't work out, so I needed to find a place fast. And there was this hostel that was like the most affordable to get the night of.
Mm-hmm.
So I stayed there. I did a video on it. It was Casa de Pozo, I think is what it's called. But it was a neat hostel. Very like home at home type of vibes. They made breakfast every morning and had like happy hour at night. And hostels could be fun, but I always do a private room just because having to work, I need to be able to guarantee I'll at least have like a quiet space to tune in for work if I need to.
Yeah, I can't sleep in a room with nobody I don't know. So
That part too.
right. in the middle of the night because they bathroom and I think they're trying to attack me. So nope, let's just get my own room.
I'm with you.
You've been to
I'm
every place I've been to as well. Seem like.
strangers. Like
I, what? What you said, Tiff?
I don't say people do that. Sleep in a room with strangers. Like you gotta trust people to sleep around them,
Yeah,
and not even mention leaving my stuff around you. You want me to sleep?
that part.
Nope. I'm,
Right, right. How did you like Salvador?
I liked Salvador better than Rio.
Hmm.
I liked I liked obviously the black influence there and being around my people. That was good. Overall, though, I kind of struggled in Brazil, so I'm a little biased. Like Brazil wasn't my favorite to live in because Brazil just didn't like me. Like the people were great. It wasn't like how Israel was, where like the people were the problem. It
yeah.
was Brazil and me trying to live there just wasn't everything wasn't working out for me. But the people I loved and in Salvador, seeing all the black people was awesome. All the cultural influences, and I got to do a Afro Brazilian history tour out there too. That was dope.
Yes, yes, yes. Um, cool, cool. I see you've been to Tulum too. I love me. Tulum is dear to my heart. Such a vibe in Tulum. A lot of
Mhm.
people, a lot of remote workers are out there.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Tulum.
Yeah.
Um,
Everybody.
Yeah, I was gonna say everybody's into Tulum.
let's see. Oh, Panama. What did you think about Panama?
Panama. You mean Peru?
I thought I saw Panama. No, you have Panama.
Mm.
A night in Panama.
Yeah, I was there for a night. Usually only in Panama for a brief layover, and when I am there, I get a little bored if I'm being honest. Mind you, I'm only staying in Panama City because I'm passing through, but I've just never felt the draw to Panama.
Okay. Well, Peru. How was Peru? You got a lot on Peru.
I heard Peru is
Peru is Peru is beautiful. Those were some of my favorite excursions to do. I would not recommend going there and working because the Wi-Fi sucks. But or if
Mm.
you do, definitely bring something backup portable Wi-Fi of some sort. Because me and that's actually my friend and coworker in some of the shots, we both struggle working out there. But going to see Machu Picchu, Rainbow Mountain was amazing. That was so much fun. Yeah, the excursions are dope. It's a great vacation, but I wouldn't recommend trying to be a nomad out there. I think it's kind of difficult.
Okay. Okay. What's on your list to go to in the future, like new places?
Yeah.
we lost audio again.
Okay.
Okay.
Um, yeah, thank you. Like I mentioned, I'm working on getting the digital nomad visa, so I'm actually excited about sitting still for a little while. I've been traveling the last 2 years and really sit down. But I do want a vacation. I want to go to Turkey. I want to go back to Amsterdam and Italy and Portugal.
Yeah.
Um,
Hot right now. It's been real hot around black travelers right now.
What?
Turkey.
Turkey.
Oh,
I heard
I
it's
hear good things.
I hear great things about Turkey. Love us so.
Yeah.
cool. Let me read this comment. How are you guys? I like Bogota. Does anyone have good information there? Um, yeah. Actually, I've never been to Bogota. I need to run through that. It's one of the ones I haven't been through. Cool, cold. The capital. That's kind of like what I know. Okay, nightlife scene. Um,
Yeah.
if you, but I always said if I was to probably stay in Bogota full time, it probably. I mean, in Colombia, it will be Bogota because of just being the capital. It's easy to get in and out of Colombia. One of the top two, Medellin, Colombia is kind of like the easiest ways to get back to the states if you need to. Um, I feel like it would probably be more business opportunities for me there in the project space because a lot of the contracts that I look at in Colombia are out of Bogota. Like 80% of them are out of Bogota. Um, So for a working lifestyle, I would probably be able to, but I don't really like that cool, cold weather all the time. Um, so, but you can hop to Cartagena for $50 round trip, or you can go to Medellin for $40, $50 round trip. That's the beauty of other countries, except for like I can't go to Atlanta to from Atlanta to Charlotte for no $50, and it's 3 hours
Right,
away.
right, right.
They're gonna
I
charge me $300.
I can't Cincinnati to Tennessee.
Huh?
I can't go to from Cincinnati to Tennessee like Nashville for $50.
Right.
Crazy. So
Yeah.
let me ask you one question. Um, was your move abroad easy in terms of, you didn't have a whole lot of stuff to get rid of here, and like it was easy for you to kind of transition to living abroad?
Mm, it was easy in the sense of I only had me to worry about and my stuff. I
Yeah.
think it's definitely a lot more challenging, moving a family or something like that. But being that it was just me, I still had to move all my stuff. So figuring out the logistics of all of that still was challenging in itself. I kind of cheated and kind of put stuff that I wasn't ready to decide on yet in a storage unit because when I left, like I knew I was going to be leaving for a couple months, but I didn't really know what the full plan was. So I figured I'd just put stuff like my couch and like bedroom furniture, stuff like the big stuff. I just put in a storage unit. And I don't want to say I regret it, but in hindsight, going backwards, I wouldn't have done that because I literally just got rid of that storage unit like last month. And I ended up just donating and selling everything in there because there was no way I was going to use it. Like a big
Yeah.
old couch, I'm not paying to move that to Colombia. So I think the hardest part was trying to mentally part with stuff was
Yeah.
challenging for me. And then of course the logistics of moving everything with it just being me and my stuff.
What's next for you in 2023 outside of travel? Like, what do you want for yourself this year, whether it's career wise or, your YouTube channel, or what can we like look out for you?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm looking to really get better at marketing my travel store. That's really where my YouTube channel kind of branches off from. But being a source for other solo female travelers out there, especially those that are digital nomads out there doing things, just providing like content and resources for them. And I definitely do that through my travel store, but also making my YouTube more of a resource in that way as well.
You have a link to your travel store?
I do.
Put it in the
Yeah, the private chat.
yeah,
I, I'll
to
put
the right. Yes, bottom right, private chat. Just put it
Yes,
in.
everyone.
I post it. I did have one question because we about to wrap this up anyway. Because it's something that I was thinking of. And actually I saw a video on your channel, but I had a little question with using your phone, your phone service abroad. You were saying that you many different scenarios you went through. You did the Google Fi for your iPhone. You did SIM card. You did the eSIM, I believe, in certain countries.
hmm
Did you ever keep your number? Because you transferred, you said from Google Fi to Google Voice.
hmm
Did you just do that transfer just to hold your number, or
Ye sort of. So there was two things that I transferred from Google Fi. One being my number, and then the other part my service. You can kind of think of them separately. So I
Mhm.
ported my number from Google Fi over to Google Voice. So now my number is linked to Google Voice, and I have an app. I have the app on my phone. So when people call Google Voice, it ports through my number and goes to my phone, just like if my number was the same as before. And then with my
Okay?
service, yeah, I canceled Google Fi and I just got a SIM card. I either use an eSIM or I use a physical SIM here. And that's the service part. And that's not hooked to Google Voice, just the number is Google Voice in the app that I'm calling through. But the service I'm actually getting through whatever SIM card I purchase, whether it's virtual or physical.
And that service gave you a Colombia number or Amsterdam number or whatever, but you would tie it. whenever you got the new number, you would tie it to your Google Voice so you can still receive calls from that US number.
So think of it as like the Google Voice app has my number, and that app is on my phone, and then the SIM card is in my phone, and that's calling straight to my phone. So
Okay,
like if someone called my Colombian number, it rings my phone, and if someone calls my number, it rings through my phone through the Google Voice app. Does
got
that
you.
make sense?
Makes
Yeah.
sense. Nice, 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 nice. I
Yeah.
just didn't know how that tied together.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah,
thank
no
you.
problem.
That's one thing that I've really been thinking on because in my little WhatsApp groups, we always talk about, do the eSIM card, but I was like, I don't want to lose my number
Mhm.
that I've always had for the last couple of years. But yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, when you port it over, it's $20 one time, and that's it. And you have your number wherever you want to take it, even if you want to go back to whatever service you left.
Oh,
Okay.
that's good advice.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I just got a $60 bill from when I just came from DR, and I was only
It
there.
adds up.
I was there 5 days, and I was like, oh man, I got
Yeah,
to
no,
figure it
I pay like $24 every 3 months for phone service now,
Oh,
and that's it. Yeah.
oh,
out. And how many gigs you get?
How many gigs? I don't know. It's got to be somewhere of like 8, 7, 8, somewhere in there. But I've never gone over. I've never run
Right.
out.
Yeah, this man, you get cheated so much in the States, man.
oh my goodness.
You do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so let's look at her site right quick before we get out of here.
Mhm.
It's called the Wonder Box. Um,
Yes.
all right, so you have what items in here? Itineraries.
Yeah, so I make travel itinerary guides based on styles. So you can see there like people that are into adventure, people that are into self-care, people that are into like history, wandering about places. There's different itineraries already laid out. So if you go to at the top where it has shop all travel guides, yeah, or even yeah, in either in there. But if you click on them, it'll take you to the actual guides themselves, and it's for different destinations. So there's one for Tulum, Mexico, for Cartagena, for Costa Rica, and basically just a 7 day itinerary. It's everything that I wish I had when I'm like, I want to pick up and go on a trip somewhere. I
Yeah,
don't feel like planning it. Like I just need to know all the details. It's got Google Maps list with all the places to go to.
this is
Um,
I would be interested in. I'm that traveler who does all the research beforehand and kind of maps out.
yes,
And you've kind of done
yes.
so I can pick and choose right from your itinerary.
Yes, exactly. Along with like any local recommendations that I picked up while I was there or travel tips, like navigating Antigua was a bit of a work, and Costa Rica as well because you got to take like a lot of buses to get to certain places. So all of those are what you can find in the guide. And you can get it per style or you can get a combo style, which kind of gives you like a almost like a 4 week trip instead because you get all the styles together and different activities to do for each one. So
Nice,
Yeah, very nice.
nice, 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 nice. It's so ironic. I am dropping my Antigua content this week.
oh yeah.
Yes. Um, I loved Guatemala. I'm gonna say this right now. I loved Guatemala. Um, culture, it's so picturesque. I like how the mountains, the volcanoes and all that stuff. I just didn't have enough time to do all the stuff. I went on a excursion on the lake to the pueblos on the other side of the lake.
Mhm.
I don't know if you did that tour or not, but
She like
uh,
I did that.
Yeah, I hopped around some of the towns. Like
yeah,
Pena. Pena was one of the ones
San
I stayed at.
Pedro.
San Pedro. Uh huh.
That was like if you're in the culture, it's like culture in your face, like bam, like
Yeah.
ladies walking around
The
these
little
little
tuk tuks.
yeah, the tuk tuk. Oh, the tuk tuk. Oh yes, I was riding the tuk tuk.
Yeah.
Take me up here.
Guatemala was a vibe. I wasn't expecting anything out of
I
it.
wasn't
I
either.
I was in Mexico and I wanted to get out. So my next place to go to was Costa Rica, and Guatemala was in the middle. So I just ended up there for a couple weeks, and I felt like you, like I didn't have enough time to do everything I wanted to do because I didn't realize how much there was to do there.
Oh yes, 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 yes. Very. I recommend. I mean, I haven't been to many places in Latin America, Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, but Guatemala was definitely a vibe. It was a vibe. Let me ask some of these questions here. Passport Light. I appreciate you joining the channel. Actually, I haven't seen you here, and you are contributing here. I want to be Indigo Nomad, but I'm not financially stable yet. Give me advice how it was possible.
What's an indigo
Um,
nomad?
hmm?
What's an indigo nomad?
I don't know.
Maybe
Um,
go nomad and just type indigo.
Indigo Nomad. Let's see.
Mm.
Indigo Nomad.
But to be a digital nomad, you got to be financially stable. That's step one. You got to have a steady.
Uh,
You also got to be creative. I
Yeah.
think this is the challenge before the digital nomad part. Because, like I said, I wanted to be one too, but I had to figure out ways. I would say start on YouTube, start finding people that are doing what you're doing, and see what they're doing to do what they're doing. And if there's a way that maybe you can start building from there. But it's going to take some build time. I think I was saving up and trying to figure out a way to be remote for 2 years before I landed the job that I had. So I think step one is just, setting
Research.
it. You want to be a digital nomad and looking for people who do what you do and trying to figure out how they did what they did.
but
Or you
and
can follow our guests. That's step one. Follow our.
That's
well,
one way.
and I want to, and I always try to break this down because a lot of people get these two, I mean, not mixed together. A remote worker, you're gonna be nine times out of ten, you're gonna be working out of for a company, getting a W-2, paying taxes. The company, you're paying taxes, whatever.
Yep.
But a digital nomad, you typically going to be a freelancer where they're going to pay you a 1099 for your services, and you're responsible for your taxes and stuff like that. You can go on Fiverr, the other one, forgot the other site where you market your services, and and that's why I wanted to get Ariana here because they were saying like top 10 skills or professions that are digital nomad friendly in 2023 was a UI
UI.
UX designer. There was AI. There was, of course, programming designers. Those are always across the board, digital nomad friendly. But you have to find a career field where you can take your work on the road. Like actually, I was just looking at a guy's YouTube this morning, and he was saying like, being a doctor, being a lawyer, you can't take that on the road. You can't be that anywhere in the world. But where you can be a designer, engineer, programmer. My field is not really so digital nomad friendly, um, but because of this virtual world, it has become more um, digital nomad friendly. So you have to find that career that you like and learn it, be good in it, get the job, and you can travel or you can market your services. Like Ari can go on uh, Fiverr and put her services out, what her daily rate is or hourly rate is, and they can say, hey, we just want you to do our little website for us.
Yep. Upload for portfolio.
Right,
Yep.
and make some money. So let me. That's her website. Check out her website. That is now the website is smooth. I'm gonna tell you that now. The website it flows really nice. I mean,
Thank you.
because I want to create a website too, but I hadn't had a chance to get into it. But you could tell you a UI UX designer because the flow of it was really nice.
Yeah.
Responsive rate and
Thank
everything.
you.
Do you offer customized travel plans?
I'm thinking about it. I want to, like I said, I want to get better at marketing my store more. Because that it's I'm really good at putting stuff together, but the marketing part and getting it out is where I'm struggling. So, but I do want to build on it though. I do want to do custom plans eventually, and I also want to do travel products. Like, there's a lot of travel gear and just things that I've picked up that have been good quality that I could do through Amazon or some other type of
Yeah, I was
third
gonna say,
party seller.
yeah.
Yeah, some drop shipping type of items and things like that that I know other travelers would like.
There's your way into UGC travel influencer marketing right there. You can offer those on your website as well.
She need to do some
Okay.
consultation for UI UX designers for people who are interested. You can do like
Yes.
some consultation. This what you put in the private chat is one of the freelance websites.
Yeah, so that's a website I came across recently. They hire freelancers, and I'm starting to find a lot of those out there. But they hire freelancers in the tech space and match them with companies that need a project. So it's kind of like they handle all the agency work, so to speak.
Yeah,
So you're not actually like working for them, but it's kind of like working at a consultant more or less, but as a freelancer.
yeah,
Mm.
that's cool.
And they're not U.S. based. That's the other thing that's really neat about them. Because the thing about these U.S. based companies, I know we're short on time, but they can drop you at any moment. You could be fired at any moment. That's why all these tech layoffs are happening. But a lot of companies outside the U.S. have laws and regulations around that, so they can't just fire you any other day. So I like that this company was based out of um, I can't remember where they're based out of, but it's not out the U.S.
Well, that's another thing that I wanted to give the difference in the remote and in digital nomad. Like remote workers, you're typically going to be working for a U.S. company, and most U.S. companies don't allow you to work abroad. You have to work within the continental U.S. So the digital nomad piece, it gives you even more leeway to travel and not have those restrictions around you with
Hmm.
UI. Because I mean, it's been times where I've used a VPN just to get where I need to go, but that's
Yeah.
not the ethical way to do it. So yeah, this is probably a good one here. Even with the 4-day work week that me and you Tiffany have talked about.
Yep,
That's I think that's a UK based. It's not a US based company.
yep. It's UK based.
Yeah.
I've heard of
So
them.
yes. Really, just yeah. I have to look over this here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it's developers and there's some other fields in there too. Like I obviously only looked at it for UX UI, but I think they have stuff like copywriting and like it maybe project management. I don't know. I'm just throwing some stuff out there, but it's
Mm,
worth checking out.
yes, yes, yes. Okay. Um, cool. Um, well, all right. Um, Ariana. We appreciate you coming on. Hopefully, we got some more people here. Okay, these last questions here. How is the hostel room shared experience while you're traveling? Sometimes you find male and female staying together. How do you keep your stuff safe?
I keep
Is it locks. There um, locks in the hostels, right? Most of
Mm,
them.
maybe I stay in a private room. I just avoid
Oh,
all those problems and just stay in a private room.
from what I've heard is there are locks in most of them. I've heard some they don't
there's
have.
lockers. You can, yeah. There's
Yeah.
most of the time there's lockers, but
But you can also buy your own lock for your own, which you should always have anyway.
lock
Yeah,
Especially
your
when you check
suitcase
back.
lock
too.
cut. That's
Your
why.
suitcase could act as your lock as well. I know people roll it out, but you can lock it and lock stuff in your suitcase.
Yeah.
Yeah, the TSA approved locks
Hmm.
that you can put on there. That
But locks can be cut, so just get a private room, sir. Don't even get yourself that. You know, don't even put yourself in that predicament for a first time. Fill it out first, then I want to.
Yeah,
but you know
that's true.
and I'm gonna tell you why I've been wanting to do a hostel, right? But then I said, I want my own room. But then I look at the cost of getting the private room in the hostel. It's almost more expensive than just me just getting my own Airbnb. And that's why I always run into that dilemma. And I just be like, I'll try it next time. And I just go ahead and get Airbnb. Because it's like, why would I get a one room in a hostel where I can get a whole 1-bedroom apartment somewhere for the same cost?
The benefit
So
of the hostel is the social aspect. If you wanted that
yeah,
aspect,
but I don't be caring to talk
I
about
know
it.
you
It's
don't,
good for solo
but
travelers.
some people want to be around other people a lot. Adrian,
Yeah, I want to do that just because I meet more people solo than I do with people who I go in a group with. Like you always, as a solo traveler, you always meeting people, other solo travelers.
yeah, I agree.
So,
But want that, you know, constant social environment.
yeah, I mean, I just heard it be going down in the house, so that's why I be going. But
Oh,
Henry Hyman says, I've been working remote and living a digital nomad, but they are trying to make us come back to the office, more of which has motivated to start an online business.
yeah.
Yes,
Do
yes,
it.
man. You got to hold the
Absolutely.
line, though, man. You got to hold the line, man. Stay strong. I'm to be transparent. I just came back from being off for a while, a few months, where I could have been back to work a lot quicker,
Yeah.
but I had to hold the line. I ain't going back in that office, man. Lord,
Yeah.
I ain't going back in that office.
I was fielding offers as well, and I got some offers. Let me tell you, and y'all wanted one wanted every day on site, or one wanted 2 days, and I was just like, "There's not any pot of money that's worth my freedom." Like, no, that it was a pause for me. Though, like, ooh,
Oh yeah. It was at a
woo,
point where I was like, "Ooh,
I knew those checks was gonna be nice, but Lord, morning and driving to work and sitting in the office. No, it's not worth it.
man,
Mm-mm.
that sense of peace when I get on that plane and when it pulls off and I can feel that thrust coming and I'm up in the air. That thing is like a high when I'm up in the air. It's like a yes. So money can't make me feel like that, man.
No.
It can't make me feel like that. But
Amen.
I got Kesey in the building.
What's up, Kesey?
Yes, yes. Any cybersecurity, identity access, that's the guy to come to. He is they putting it together. I'm telling you, they putting it together with this security. I just had to kind of get my world together. But I'm gonna be back. I'm gonna be back in the chat. I see the chat, but I ain't been active in the chat in a while. So, but I see y'all. I see y'all. Y'all making things happen over there. Y'all making things happen. But all right, I'm not gonna hold you no longer. I appreciate graciously. I appreciate you coming to bless us and my viewers and subscribers and all the people from Matic Money that come and check us out. We are
Yes,
so
thank you.
thankful for
Yeah,
you.
thanks for having me.
Yes, so we have to get you back on when you get that visa for Colombia, so you can show us and tell us how it was and experience and all that good stuff. So I can't promise I'll see you in Medellin. I
Yeah.
may, I may come through there. I may drop by. I don't really can't imagine. You may have to come to Cartagena and check me out, man.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Or Cali, we go check out D. We go check out D in Cali.
Cali.
Okay. Cali's the midpoint.
Cali hot too, but it ain't that hot like Cartagena. Cartagena sounds like it'd be on your neck, but cool. Yes, and I'll put all her links in the description after the show of this video. I'll put them in the description. So again, what you have anything, Tiffany?
Just want to remind everybody that we try to bring you content that's going to encourage you to find what your niche is, find where your space is, to encourage you to live the life that you've always wanted to live. And we want to show you people that look like us so that you know that it's possible for you. Go out there, wake up tomorrow, plan your dreams, go live your dreams. Your life is what you created. Go out there and make it happen. You can always find me at Sports and Heels on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Have a good night, guys.
Cool. All right. And again, thank you again. And we will see you. All right, we'll be back in contact with you. Take care. We out, y'all. Bye.
Peace.
BS3 Network, changing the way you watch TV.